I bet you didn't know that some of the fish you've been told are good for your heart, could actually be hurting your brain, your nerves, even your memory. Yeah, I know. That sounds unbelievable, right? But it's true. Some of the most popular fish, the ones you might pick up thinking you're doing something smart for your health, could be silently making things worse, especially after you hit 60. See, the thing is, as we get older, our bodies don't get rid of toxins like they used to. They start to store things. Build them up slowly. And if you're eating the wrong fish, over time, that mercury, those chemicals, they start stacking up in your body like old newspapers in an attic. No symptoms at first. But then maybe you feel a little more forgetful. Your joints start to ache a bit more. You feel tired even after a full night's sleep. And by the time you're 80, your body may have already absorbed levels of toxins that are affecting your brain, your heart, even your nerves, and you'd never know. It's a silent threat. One that affects millions of seniors every single year, especially the ones who are trying to eat healthy. But here's the good news. What if I told you, there are people in their 70s, 80s, even 90s, who are thriving? I mean sharp minds, strong bodies, still walking a mile or two every morning, laughing with friends, remembering names, birthdays. And they didn't get there with fancy pills or trendy diets. Nope. They just knew which 5 fish to avoid. That's it. Simple choices. Powerful impact. And I want to share those with you today, not to scare you, but to empower you. Because these are things most doctors never talk about. Not because they don't care, but because the science has changed, and the old advice hasn't kept up. In fact, more than 90% of seniors have never been told this. Why? Because a lot of the recommendations still being passed around today, they were written decades ago. Back when we didn't know what we know now, about mercury, about farmed fish, about the long-term damage certain toxins can do to the aging brain and body. But new research, from respected places like the Mayo Clinic and the Environmental Defense Fund, is sounding the alarm. Certain fish, especially the ones raised in overcrowded farms or swimming at the top of the food chain, are now linked to inflammation, memory issues, even nerve damage. And yet, they're still being called heart healthy. That's the part that really gets me. #5, swordfish. Alright, let's start with one that might really surprise you. Swordfish. Now, on the surface, swordfish seems like a solid choice. It looks lean, it's rich in protein, and hey, it's fish, right? Fish is supposed to be good for you. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. Swordfish is one of the most mercury-contaminated fish on the market. And mercury? It's not just a scary word. It's a toxic metal that doesn't belong in your body, and when it does get in, it sticks around. Especially in the brain. As we get older, mercury affects us differently than it does younger folks. It can slow your thinking, cloud your memory, and mess with your coordination, things that are already more sensitive in our later years. So if you've ever felt like your mind is a little foggy after dinner, it might not just be age. It might be what's on your plate. And here's what's even more troubling, the FDA itself has warned that older adults should avoid swordfish completely. Not, cut back on it, avoid it. Now, I get it. Maybe you've enjoyed swordfish for years. It's hearty, it grills up nicely, and it's got that meaty texture that feels more like steak than fish. But no matter how good it tastes, it's not worth the price your brain might be paying for it. So what can you do instead? Try swapping it out for wild-caught salmon, and I mean wild, not farmed. It's lower in mercury, rich in omega-3s, which are like brain food, and it helps fight inflammation, not cause it. It's a smart, senior-friendly swap that lets you keep enjoying seafood, without gambling with your memory. And trust me, once you know how to spot the high-risk fish, making these changes becomes second nature. Swordfish may look harmless on your plate, but inside your body, it could be doing more damage than you ever imagined. #4, tilefish, especially from the Gulf of Mexico. Next up is a fish you may have never even heard of, but believe me, it could be showing up on your plate without you realizing it. It's called tilefish, especially the kind caught in the Gulf of Mexico. And here's the thing, tilefish doesn't look dangerous. It doesn't sound dangerous. But don't let that fool you. It's one of the highest mercury-containing fish in the ocean, right up there with swordfish. In fact, it's so high that the FDA has placed it on their "Do Not Eat" list for seniors and pregnant women. That's not a gentle warning, that's a flat-out red flag. Now here's where things get tricky. Tilefish isn't always clearly labeled. Sometimes, especially in restaurants or frozen meals, it's just called whitefish or something generic like sea fillet. You might think you're getting something harmless, but what you're really getting is a fish that's carrying dangerous levels of mercury that your brain and nervous system cannot handle. And by the time you figure it out, the damage could already be setting in. And you wouldn't even know. You might notice a little more forgetfulness, a little more shakiness in your hands, or maybe your balance feels off when you get out of bed in the morning. It's subtle at first, until it's not. That's why I always say this: if you're buying fish, especially if it's not from a trusted brand, ask your fishmonger exactly what you're getting. Don't be shy. You've got every right to know what you're putting in your body. Ask, is this tilefish? Ask, where was this caught? If they don't know, walk away. Or better yet, stick to clearly labeled, low-mercury fish. Wild-caught salmon, sardines, or even Atlantic mackerel, those are much safer bets for anyone over 60. Because when it comes to your brain, your memory, your independence, it's not worth rolling the dice. Tilefish might not be famous. But it's one of those hidden dangers that slips through the cracks, especially for seniors who are just trying to make smart food choices. And you deserve better than that. #3, farmed salmon. Alright, now this one might catch you off guard, and honestly, it breaks my heart a little because so many good folks are trying to do the right thing here. We've all heard it, right? Eat more salmon, it's good for your heart, great for your brain, full of omega-3s. And yes, that's true. But only if it's the right kind of salmon. And here's where it gets a little tricky. Not all salmon is created equal. There's wild salmon, and then there's farmed salmon, and the difference between the two is like night and day, especially when you're over 60. Farmed salmon. It's raised in tight, overcrowded pens, usually in conditions that would honestly make your stomach turn if you saw them. These fish are often swimming in their own waste, pumped full of antibiotics, and eating processed pellets instead of their natural diet. And the result? That beautiful pink fillet you see at the store may be loaded with chemicals you've never even heard of, including something called PCBs. Now, PCBs, polychlorinated biphenyls, are toxic industrial compounds. They were banned decades ago for a reason, but they still show up in the fat of farmed fish. And when you eat those fish regularly, those PCBs can build up in your body, just like mercury. They're linked to inflammation, hormone disruption, and, here's the big one, an increased risk of certain cancers and cognitive decline as we age. And here's the part that really stings. Farmed salmon often looks exactly like wild salmon. It's sold in bulk, it's cheaper, it's everywhere, and most people have no idea they're buying it. You think you're doing something smart for your health, but it's working against you behind the scenes. It's a classic case of good intention, bad outcome. But here's the fix, and it's simple. Whenever you can, go for wild Alaskan salmon. Not just wild-caught, in general, look for that word, Alaskan. Because in Alaska, fish farming is actually banned by law. Those salmon grow up in clean, natural waters, feeding on a proper diet, free from artificial colorings and dangerous contaminants. Yes, it costs a little more, but what's your health worth? What's your memory, your mobility, your future independence worth? When you're in your 60s, 70s, and beyond, the food you eat either builds you up, or breaks you down slowly. And farmed salmon? It's just not the kind of foundation you want to be building on. Hashtag 2, King Mackerel. Now, let's talk about a fish that sounds regal, but could be quietly stealing your balance, your clarity, and even your peace of mind. It's called king mackerel. Sounds impressive, doesn't it? But don't let the name fool you, this fish is no friend to the aging body. King mackerel is known for one thing in particular, extremely high levels of mercury. And remember what we said earlier, mercury doesn't just pass through your system and disappear. As you age, your body becomes less efficient at flushing it out. That means it builds up over time, and where does it go? Straight to your nervous system. And this is where things get personal. Because if you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, you may have already noticed things like hand tremors, brain fog, or feeling a little wobbly on your feet now and then. Sometimes we chalk it up to aging. But in many cases, mercury exposure can make those symptoms worse, much worse. It's not dramatic. It creeps in slowly. You might feel a little off one day, misplace a word the next, or feel uncertain going down the stairs. And the truth is, king mackerel could be playing a bigger role than anyone realizes. It's not just a fish, it's a trigger for something deeper, especially in older adults. Now here's something you might not know, even a single serving of king mackerel can contain mercury levels so high that the FDA warns older adults, pregnant women, and children to avoid it entirely. Not cut back, but completely stay away. So what do you do if you love mackerel? Because yes, mackerel in general can be a good source of omega-3s, and we need those. The answer is simple. Choose Atlantic mackerel. Not king. Not Spanish. Atlantic. It's much lower in mercury, still rich in nutrients, and doesn't come with the same risk to your brain or nervous system. It's the same delicious taste, without the toxic baggage. Remember, you're not just eating for today. You're feeding the brain you'll use to remember your grandchildren's names, the body you'll walk with at your next doctor's visit, and the energy you'll need to keep living independently. King mackerel may sound noble. But it's not looking out for your future. You have to do that part, and now, you know how. Hashtag 1, Shark. And now, we've come to the final fish on this list, and I've saved the most quietly dangerous one for last. It's shark. Yes, shark. Now, you might be thinking, who eats shark anyway? And that's exactly what makes this one so sneaky. Because the truth is, you might be eating shark without even knowing it. See, shark is often ground up and used in processed fish products, things labeled as fish steaks, seafood fillets, or even those mysterious frozen fish patties. They don't always tell you what kind of fish is inside. And in many cases, it's shark. Now here's why that matters, and why it matters a lot as you age. Sharks sit at the very top of the ocean's food chain. They eat smaller fish, which eat even smaller fish, which have already absorbed pollution, mercury, and toxins. And all of those toxins, they build up, year after year, in the shark's body. By the time you take a bite, you're getting a concentrated dose of everything toxic the ocean has to offer. It's not just mercury, though shark has dangerously high levels of that too. It's also industrial pollutants, heavy metals, and even microplastics, the kind that don't just pass through your body. They stay. And the older you get, the slower your body clears them out. If you're over 60, your kidneys, your liver, your immune system, they're all working harder just to keep up. Adding shark into the mix, even without knowing it, can accelerate aging from the inside out. We're talking about things like increased inflammation, joint pain, higher cancer risk, and faster mental decline. All from something that probably just looked like a harmless frozen fish dinner. So how do you protect yourself? You read the labels, all of them. If the packaging doesn't say exactly what species of fish it contains, don't buy it. If it just says, fish fillet, or seafood steak, ask. Ask your grocer. Ask the restaurant. Because your health is too valuable to hand over blindly. And here's a little rule of thumb that served me well. If it doesn't name the fish, it's probably not a fish you want. Now listen. I know you're doing your best. You're making better food choices, you're trying to stay active, you're fighting to stay independent. But the game changes after 60. You need to be smarter than the label. Shark may look like a bargain or blend right into a seafood platter. But what it's doing inside your body, quietly, slowly, daily, could be holding you back from the vitality you deserve. So here's the bottom line, my friend. As we get older, we start to realize something important: every bite we take matters more than it used to. Your body's been through decades of hard work, healing, stress, memories, and resilience. It deserves foods that support it, not silently chip away at it. And the truth is, not all fish are created equal. Some carry hidden dangers, heavy metals, toxic chemicals, and pollutants, that your body just can't bounce back from the way it once did. We're talking about things that don't show up right away, but creep in quietly, affecting your brain, your balance, your energy, your independence. So if you truly want to protect your memory, if you want to keep moving without fear of falling, if you want to wake up feeling clear, strong, and present in the years ahead, the first step is simple. Cut out those 5 dangerous fish from your plate. You're not giving something up. You're giving your body a chance to fight back. A chance to heal. A chance to thrive, even in your 70s, 80s, and beyond. And don't wait. Your next meal is either building the life you want to live, or quietly pulling you away from it. So choose wisely. Your future self is already thanking you. So, let me ask you something. Did any of these surprise you? Maybe you've been eating one of them for years, thinking it was good for your heart, good for your brain. Only to find out today that it might have been doing the opposite. And if that's the case, please don't feel bad. You didn't do anything wrong. You made the best choices you could with the information you had. But now you know better. And that means you have the power to do better. One meal, one habit, one decision at a time. Or maybe you're thinking of someone in your life right now. Someone who's in their 80s and still sharp as a tack. Still walking 5 miles every morning. Still gardening, dancing, laughing like they're in their 40s. What's their secret, you think? Maybe they've been avoiding these fish without even realizing it. Or maybe they've just been listening to their body in a way most of us forget to. Either way, I'd love to hear your story. Drop a comment below and tell us what surprised you most today. And let us know where you're tuning in from. It's amazing to see this thriving age tip community growing all around the world. Every week, more seniors just like you are stepping into a healthier chapter, and it's beautiful to witness. If you found value in this video, if even one part made you think differently, go ahead and tap that like button. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and ring the little bell icon so you never miss out on senior smart advice made just for you. We're here every week with practical, honest, and empowering health tips, because you deserve to thrive, not just survive, at every age. Take care of yourself. You're not alone on this journey. And remember, the best years of your life aren't behind you. They're the ones you're still creating, starting now.